Electronics. We just can't escape it. For some, looking back on their childhood, sports and physical education have been a huge part of their lives. However, in today's day and age, that is no longer the case. With the rise of internet, phones, and video games, children are spending more time online and less time being active. In Canada, it's well established that greater activity and lower inactive behavior are associated with a variety of positive health outcomes. Nevertheless, only 15% of adults and 9% of child and youth are meeting the current physical activity guidelines. Adults are sedentary for 9.5 hours a day, and children and youth up to 8.5 hours a day. Physical activity is extremely important. It helps with focus, self-esteem, and social behaviors. So I set out to figure out how the rise of online interaction with technology, urbanized living, and academic pressures have combined to create historically low rates of physical activity in youth. First stop was Participaction, a government-run organization that promotes physical activity amongst children. Dr. Lee Vanderloot, the Knowledge Translation Manager at Participaction, says their challenge is getting kids offline in order to get active.
For a long time, the focus was trying to get kids more active, and while that's definitely still important behavior that we want to focus on because of this influx of screens and technology, and it's not just how they consume material or how they spend their leisure time, but it's also really how they communicate and socialize with their friends. So it's becoming an even more ingrained kind of behavior within their lives. So trying to find a way to appropriately intervene to educate this particular population on more responsible media or screen use, or even trying to minimize the amount of time that they're spending sitting while watching screens, is definitely an important one, but it also makes it a little bit more trickier just because it's so heavily ingrained, and there's just the allure of the screen. So it's trying to demonstrate to them that there's other activities that are still enjoyable, that don't require screens, and so sometimes it's a little bit of a struggle to combat against that.
These active minutes online have also shown negative effects to sleep and mood in youth. Participaction says they look at the whole picture when providing information to the public.
In line with the new national 24-hour movement guidelines that they have for children and youth, as well as the early years, and the soon-to-come adult and older adult guidelines, we really are starting to look at this whole 24-hour kind of clock, or why the whole day matters. And so rather than looking at these behaviors, physical activity, sedentary behaviors, and sleep in silos, we know that they're highly codependent on one another, and so it makes sense to look at all three together. We also know that the more you move and the less you sit enhances the quality of sleep that you're going to have, which then is going to give you enough energy the next day to ensure that you have enough energy to engage in the movement that you need to engage in. For optimal health.
Sports is a great way to get youth active as well, but studies are showing the positive role that it can play in childhood development. Former CFL player, youth mentor, and business owner says he thanks sports for teaching some of life's best lessons.
Sporting atmosphere allowed me to build positive relationships with adults that helped me grow. So the positive relationships were big. Having a vision. When you have a season, you have a vision. When you have a game, you have a vision. I want to win. I want to develop this skill. I want to become tighter with my teammates. So many different things depending on the coaches and those adults facilitating the activity can really emphasize. And so all of those things help me. At the pro level, it was like a super fast version of life. Like in life, you learn different things like, hey, things aren't always going to go your way. You're going to fail sometimes. You're going to win, you're going to lose. You're going to have to rely on other people. You're going to be meeting other people. You're going to be put in new environments. There are going to be people who don't like you. There are going to be people who are actually against you. Politics are everywhere. They can be in your career, in your workplace. They can be in school. They can be wherever. So in participating in sport, I feel like I've fast-tracked through life, and I learned so many different experiences that when I'm just doing regular life, I'm better able to cope, demonstrate resilience and persistence, and overcome and lead.
While these technological advances have been great for youth in the education system, the problem is they're far exceeding the recommended 2 hours of daily screen time. Instead of kids being active playing sports in parks like these, they're active on their devices.
Kids in Canada are definitely surpassing that, and so that's where it starts to become a problem, because once we pass that threshold, we start to see that definitely those negative impacts start to come into play. Again, not just physical health, but from a developmental perspective, a mental health perspective.
Some youth development organizations have banned electronic devices completely. YMCA Burlington is one of them.
So a lot of the kids now bring their own phones, and so the Y actually has banned technology. So we have zero technology allowed, parents know, kids know.
As for the before and after school care program, some caregivers say they can tell when students haven't received enough physical activity.
The Y time is really, like, those 4 hours are really crucial, like the morning and afternoon, that they don't have it. And that's when you really find changes in their personalities.
Next time you decide to do something as a family, consider doing something active. For Humber News, I'm Danielle Blumentroth.